So, welcome back, everybody. This is Night Flight, and as you can see, I have a new guest. Her name is Dr. Karen Can, and she is a cardiologist. She is
No,
also what?
I'm
No?
not a cardiologist. No.
Hey, that is what Dr. Google told me. Can you
Oh, okay.
imagine?
Well, we have a bio page. Did you want
Yeah,
would
yeah,
you
yeah, yeah. But yeah, that is really
yes,
interesting.
that other Karen Can is in New York City as well. I'm in upstate New York, and that
Ah,
Karen Can is
okay.
a cardiologist. And so that people actually never on the podcast because I don't think she does podcasts, but the Google will mix us up because we have, and she's Asian, of course, which is hilarious. So
Okay. But is that your podcast on YouTube?
um I have the Sensitivities to Superpower podcast.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So
That is your
I have a short
podcast.
bio. I can give it to you. Hang on. Let me look for it. I think, did you not get this from where you live? Oops, no, I have two short bios. Hang on. Oh, there we go. This one is updated. Yeah. So I'll put that in the Zoom chat here. There you go. And
Okay.
if you scroll down, it has the short bio or super short bio
The
in there.
super short one. Okay, so since Google obviously can't tell one from the other, why don't you introduce yourself a little bit?
Okay. Well, did you want to stop the recording and then restart? Because then it'll give you a
No,
clean, it'll
no,
give
I
you.
did. We are humans. We all make mistakes.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I do. I turn off the recording and then I turn it back on and we start all over again.
Uh-huh.
That's what I would prefer if you don't mind.
Okay, okay, sure, sure. I can do that. Oh. So, welcome back, everybody. This is Night Flight, and today I have Dr. Karen Can with me. She is a best-selling author, and she also has a podcast on YouTube. Sensitivity is your superpower, and her website is karencan.com, and you will find all the links in the description box. So, Dr. Can, welcome.
Thank you, Judith. I appreciate the invite. And you, everybody usually calls me Karen or Dr. Karen. So
Okay. So, since you are here for the first time, that is always my first question. How did you stumble on the subject that sensitivity can be an advantage?
yeah, I think that's a great question. Thank you so much for asking that. For most of us in the so-called healing world, and of course, I was a medical doctor, wanted to help people. Ever since I was a little kid, really loved the idea of helping people. And given that I am Chinese, what we do is we go to med school. It's a thing, first generation in Canada. All my Chinese colleagues went to med school except for one, both girls and boys. So we go to med school, we try to help people. And along the way, what I realized is that, well, it took me a while to realize it. My body and my psyche is so sensitive to other people's emotions, and I could feel their stuff in my body. That I really felt it was kind of a curse initially. My mother was extremely sensitive and she was made fun of. She was criticized, made fun of. My dad made fun of her. And even though he was just joking around, he didn't mean to be mean. As a child, I got the message, don't be so sensitive. So I tried my hardest to be tough, to, like, as my ex-husband would say, have the water roll off your back, like, water off a duck's back, which meant like nothing phases you, right? At that time, it was really hard. So I stuffed my emotions, and I secretly resented my sensitivity. Not that I knew anything about it. I just thought there was something wrong with me. Um, why am I crying? It's just a toilet paper commercial, Karen. You know what I mean? But at a drop of a hat, like, and it was hard dealing with patients because I could feel their pain and discomfort, and I would start crying, and I'm like, oh great, the doctor's crying. You know what I mean? And they're like, it's okay, right? So they're comforting me, which is very, very embarrassing. um so I went through life thinking there was something wrong with me, that this is kind of a curse. Like, I wish I wasn't so sensitive. I wish I wasn't like my mom, right? I didn't want to be criticized. I didn't want to be lambasted. I didn't want to be looked down upon. So I tried my best to be the stoic, strong person, but that wasn't my personality at all. I was soft, I was feminine. So the more I tried to be a man, the more I conditioned myself to be more masculine, if you will. The harder my body, took the brunt of all that. And then I finally got sick and stressed out, totally burnt out. Us women don't have the testosterone to pull from like the men do. We use our adrenals. And so once I kind of went, then I was able to stop being a man because I couldn't, and had to start to really decide what I wanted to do with my life. And as I started healing myself of a so-called incurable illness, I realized that, hey, I have a lot of medical knowledge, but there's some other things I don't understand. Like all the prescriptions I gave to people, they didn't really do anything. And I was almost ashamed of, after trying them myself for my own illness, it was so horrible. I'm like, oh my gosh, I prescribed this stuff to people? That's terrible. So I sought, the help of counselors, and then there was a spiritual advisor that moved to town. I thought, well, I don't know what else to do. I can't take these medications. I know there's some mind stuff involved, and maybe there's something spiritual. And sure enough, there was quite a bit, if not mostly, spiritual stuff going on. So with
Mm.
her help, her name was Pat, and with her help and books and going to different retreats, like learning about myself and learning about these um, psychic, if you will, or spiritual gifts, I realized that, oh, wait a second, my sensitivity isn't a curse. It's not bad. It's actually a gift. It's actually a talent. Oh my gosh, like no one ever told me that, right? So that really flipped the script on how I was treating myself. And I started being very, very interested in more esoteric things, more psychic development, and realized that on some levels I had a real knack for it. Like, I'm not necessarily, as clairvoyant as some of my colleagues and friends are, who can literally see, full body angels and ghosts and talk to them and that kind of thing. I think my specialty is more like feeling in the body, like energies and emotions. And that I really think empathy is gonna like heal the world. We have all these world wars and all these, so-called terrible things happening in the world. But if we actually empathize with each other, I don't think we would have any of that. So I do think empathy is a superpower, and I do teach my students and my clients how to access their own spiritual gifts and how to have their own conversations with source, if you will, so that they don't always have to outsource to the news media or medical doctors or Auntie Tori or somebody else, and they can get their answers from within. So what was initially a debilitating issue, that sensitivity, is now harnessed or honed, if you will, as a superpower. So I can talk to God whenever I want, and figure out what's going on and help other people do the same.
Mm. Um, did you ever delve into the subject? Okay, you told us that your mother had the same sensitivity, and that would probably suggest that there is something genetic going on. But other than that, have you ever delved into the problem, not the problem, but into the subject of how and why this manifests in certain people?
Mm, yeah, that's another good question. At this point in time, I believe that everyone has these gifts, whether they're really expressed or not. Um, our society doesn't necessarily nurture these gifts. in school we learn about math and reading and physical education, and if you're lucky, art and music, right? But these kinds of things, not really talked about, not really taught well, at least in regular school. So it's just like a muscle you don't use. It just atrophies. It's not it's available, but we have to train in it. Now, some people will be nurtured from birth. Their parents or grandparents will say, "Oh, she's a sensitive one." And instead of, when the young one says, "I see a man in the corner," and nobody sees the guy, right? Instead of going, "Oh, honey, that's your imagination," they'll say, "Oh, honey, describe the man. Oh, he's wearing a funny vest and these glasses that look like that, and you know." And they're like, "Oh, really, honey? Well, here's a picture of somebody from the 1920s. Oh, it looks just like that man. Well, not exactly that man, but he's dressed the same," right? So, like, instead of being curious, parents freak out and go, "Oh my God," and they just go, "Well, it's their imagination," because they can't see it. So we don't get this nurturing that we could. And I actually think, as far as my mom is concerned, I mean, yes, genetically, physically, I have a lot of her traits, including that she had this chronic medical illness called fibromyalgia before I did. And I literally judged her for that because I thought, well, she's just not trying hard enough
Mm-hmm.
until I got it. And then I was like, it's not genetic. Why do I have this? Right? Okay. Wow. I am trying as hard as I can, and it's not helping. And then I finally understood what she was going through, like the stress that she had, the stress that I had. Yeah, there was a genetic predisposition, not there's no gene for fibromyalgia, but a predisposition to, when we get stressed out, that our bodies kind of fall apart in this way. And so there are so many people on the planet right now who seem to have come in with these gifts either on or amplified, and that's really cool. I call them sensitive souls. Dr. Elaine Aron has done a lot of research on highly sensitive people. I call them sensitive souls. She calls them HSPs, highly sensitive person. That I believe that there is something different about us, in that we can often um, sense things that other people can't sense, especially if they're dangerous to us and isn't for our highest good. For example, a lot of sensitive souls can walk into, let's say, a big store with a lot of electronic equipment and suddenly start to feel sick. It's not because there's anything wrong with them. It's because they can actually feel what the electromagnetic radiation of all those computers, the cell phones, all the people there, their stressed energy. They can feel that in their bodies, in their senses. So in America, we talk about some of us sensitive souls being the canary in the coal mine, meaning that the old coal miners used to put a canary in a cage in the coal mine, because if there were toxic gases that we couldn't smell, the canary would die first and they would run out, right, to save themselves. So we're kind of like those people. We know something is not good long before everybody else does. And it's helpful and not helpful in our society. And my mother, by the way, is her soul is actually an angelic soul. She doesn't really like that I say that, except that everybody, told her she was an angel ever since she was little, because she was so sweet and so loving and generous and empathetic, and people said that about me as well. So I also have an angelic soul. I actually have multiple souls, all rolled into one, but she has an angelic soul. So although we aren't like metagenetically connected necessarily in our earth angelness, we both have very, very similar loving traits, which a lot of earth angels do.
Hmm. That is interesting because this trait to detect danger before it arrives, you find that in animals a lot.
Yeah.
And I remember that when, many years ago, when this horrific tsunami hit
Mm.
Indonesia and other parts of the world, that the animals all went further
Higher
into, yeah,
elevation, right?
yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. They sense the energy, and because they're not so clouded by all the things that us humans, being as complex as we are, clouded with, and they can actually sense directly and take action. And they have this collective, right? Like when the birds fly, it seems like they instantly change direction altogether. Like how do they do that? It can't be through telepathy. It can't be through bird signals. I mean, it literally is a quantum thing. It's literally in the quantum. There's a knowing, and they all change at the same time. It's amazing. But us humans, we have a lot of overlays of stuff.
Yeah. Um, I agree that we have more and more sensitive people coming in, yet at the same time, I have to say, we also produce a lot of narcissists.
Yeah, that's super interesting because those of us who are sensitive, Elaine Aron says about 30, 40 years ago, when the first study came out, she said 20% of people are HSPs. The latest one, 2018, that I got because I needed to look it up for my book, Sensitivities or Superpower. I asked for people to give me the latest study because I couldn't find it. So they did. The number was 30%. And
Mm.
here's the cool thing. When I went, before I got that answer, I tuned in to Source and I said, just curious, based on Elaine Aron's, criteria for sensitivity or HSPs, approximately what percentage of the population would be classified as HSPs? I got the number 33, which was so far away from her 20% from the 70s or whenever that was, that I'm like, I think Source is wrong. So, and then when her people gave me the 2018 study, there it was, 30%. And I was like, well, okay. Okay. So source is not wrong. Just, the data was a little dated. So I got the new data now. And yeah, so that was very, very interesting. Sorry, I forgot your question.
Yeah, and I was hinting at the fact that we also produce a lot of narcissists.
Oh, right, right. Yes, yes.
And that one specific trait of narcissists, I always boil it down to the three E's: exploitation, entitlement, and lack of empathy.
Yeah, lack of empathy. It's very interesting because the so-called narcissists are so guarded that they have the highest pain and insecurity and lack of self-esteem and self-love. They naturally gravitate to the sensitive souls. They
Mhm.
like magnetically. It's like a yin and a yang. The empaths and narcissists are like,
Yeah.
and we each can highlight our own shadows. But one could argue that my first husband was a mini narcissist. I mean, he wasn't like terrible, not at all. But narcissists tend to be very entertaining, very charismatic, great orators, speakers, that kind of thing. And my ex-husband was incredibly funny. But the funny thing is, anytime we'd go out or we're with people, 90% of the time he's talking about himself.
Mhm.
And I thought about that after we divorced. I'm like, interesting. It always was, no matter what the topic was, it was always back to him. So I called him a mini narcissist because I certainly didn't have the negative, experience that a lot of empaths do. But is it that there's a yin and yang? Is there's supposed to be this polarity and balance so we could see the contrast? Like why seemingly does it look like there is more narcissists in the world and also more empaths? Like where's everybody else in between? Right? I'm
Yeah.
not sure what the answer is to that question.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess what you said, it makes sense that narcissists are naturally drawn to empaths because the empath has something that they are lacking. But not in your case, but sometimes they definitely can ruin a life.
Yeah, well, and here's this might not be popular, okay, with your empath listeners. I'm just warning you. The empath narcissist, like I said, they highlight each other's shadows, meaning that yes, the narcissist, if they actually got what they're supposed to get, if you will, soul-wise from the empath, the empathy, that would change their lives, especially self-empathy. The other is true, and this is what people don't talk about because they almost talk about empaths as victims of narcissists. The
Mm.
empath needs to learn from the narcissist. And you're like, what? Right? So my mini narcissist ex-husband, he talked a lot about himself. It was all about him. I needed to learn that because I didn't know what I wanted. All I knew was what he wanted. And my job was to make him happy. That was my thought process. So I needed to have him model for me, which I didn't understand until we got divorced. He modeled for me more of what I needed, more of the balance. And I modeled for him the empathy, more of what he needed. And the neat thing is that did happen. I didn't realize it until we parted, but the whole relationship actually morphed and changed. So I became more assertive. I became more able to stand up for myself, not anything like I am now, but better. I was able to sort of kind of swing an axe. He took it away from me after I tried, but it was really funny. But I tried, right? I was out there, I was lifting weights, I was hewing logs, I was doing all the things that a princess does not do. And yet he believed in me. He says, you can do this. There's no reason why you can't do this. And I'm like, I can't do it. He says, well, why? Like, you can do
You're
this. If it
okay.
wasn't for him, I would not be a skater. I love figure skating now, but I wanted to quit after 2 weeks because I sucked at skating. And he said, well, you think you have to be good at everything. If I think you should just keep keep studying for the next 20 weeks. If you hate it after that, then quit. And I thought, he's right. I do think I need to be good at everything. So I did learn from him, and he learned empathy, and that helped him with his future children from another relationship and his
Mhm.
future partner. So
Mm. Um, how, if people are highly sensitive, how does that manifest? Is it also physical? I mean, like your skin is going to explode and it's itchy and scratchy or whatever.
yeah.
And is it also manifesting emotionally, mentally? On what levels does it manifest?
I love this question. Well, the quick answer is all levels. So, on the physical level, we see that sensitive souls can be very sensitive to smells,
Mm,
right? It's part of Elaine Aron's, quiz. Noxious smells, like they can't stand perfume, especially non-natural smells, and it really, really bothers them. They can walk into a store and just walk right out because they can't stand the smell of what's in there. It could be touch for sure. So many sensitive souls, when I ask them, what they're wearing, they're like, "Oh," and I'm one of them. I wear organic, certified organic cotton, linen, and merino wool. And yes, sometimes I will wear stuff that stretches because I like to work out as well. And skating, I can't really wear some of the stuff that isn't stretchy. But generally speaking, day in and day out, I'm bathed in organic cotton, linen, or merino wool because that feels good on my skin. Anything that's too scratchy, it's not going to work. My ex-husband, I tell you this funny story, Judith. My ex-husband, we'd be walking somewhere, we used to live in LA, so we'd be walking down the sidewalk, and I'm like, stop. And he goes, what is it now? I'm like, I have a rock in my shoe. He goes, it's not a rock, okay? And so I would take my shoe off, and there'd be this tiny, tiny piece of sand. And he goes, seriously, you felt that? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, and he's like, you're my princess in the pea. So we can feel these things physically. Now, mentally, that's where it's pretty challenging. If we don't know that well, if our boundaries are down, we can actually sense other people's thoughts and think they're ours. An example would be a sensitive soul without a good mental boundary. They may be, for example, around like say they go to a bar or they go to a restaurant and they call alcohol spirits for a reason
hmm
because there are ghosts and other spirits attracted to people with addictions, attracted to those who drink alcohol. So we might walk into a place like that and suddenly feel depressed.
hmm
or suddenly feel angry, right? And sorry, I went to emotional, back to mental, or they might have negative thoughts about themselves. I'm not worthy. What's the use? Life is not worth living. Like seriously, sometimes you can literally take that, and this is what we do in my modality and others, take that mental construct right out of the energy field, and all of a sudden they're like a different person. So mental things, they can feel it mentally, negative thoughts, especially self-denigrating thoughts. Emotionally, they can feel other people's stuff, their sadness, their grief, their sorrow, their anger, their rage. My ex-husband used to come back from the natural food store in town, and there were entities there. And one time he came back and he was just angry. And so I tested him, and I said, "Oh, you brought back a friend." That's a lower realm entity. No wonder you're angry. So lower realm entities or spirits tend to be kind of like cutthroat kind of energy, different from ghosts, different from dark angels. Anyway, they are like almost animalistic in their rage. So we just cleared that for him, and he just suddenly was like, "Oh my gosh, I feel so much better." He was just feeling the entity around him. He wasn't, it wasn't even attached to him, wasn't even trying to hurt him. He just brought it home. I mean, entity must have known, ooh, bright light. Let me go over there, you know? So emotionally, we can really feel this stuff. And this is a tough one because emotionally, I'm very sensitive. However, I've learned over the years to be stable and to know who I am. So I go into the stillness, I feel energy in my body that calms the emotions, and then I go, "Oh, this is me. This is the line. This is the resonance that's me." So when I'm over here and all of a sudden I'm kind of like, out of sorts, and I don't have my period anymore, so I don't have those. But if I'm out of sorts and I'm feeling kind of down and kind of disgruntled, I need to remember to go, whose stuff is this, Karen? And 99.9%, it's not mine. It belongs to somebody else. It belongs to mass consciousness. Something happens in the world. I don't even watch the news, but something happens in the world. I get to feel it emotionally sometimes. Now, sometimes I have good boundaries, other times not so much. And if I feel it's somebody else's stuff, I'll just go ahead. Is my role to clear it or heal it? If not, I just shore up my boundaries. If it is my role, because that's what I do, like medicine. So then I go ahead and clear it or heal it for the collective. And that's emotional. So we have physical, mental, emotional, then we have energetic. Sometimes we can actually feel certain energies in our body that are uncomfortable, like energetic weapons, curses, things like that. It feels like it's physical, but there's nothing physical, that we can see that we're dealing with. Spiritually, we could be very sensitive to also spiritual things that are going on that are not in alignment. We can walk. For example, I had a client one time, it was a very long time ago, when I had an acupuncture practice, and her pastor husband would insist on coming to the appointment. Was very controlling, and nice, but controlling. And interestingly, she had entities. And I thought, well, that was very interesting because he's a pastor.
Mhm.
Normally, when people pray a lot in a church, it's angels, it's not entities around them. So I did not investigate further, but I had a sense there was something dark about him that was very, very buried, like down here, very deep, and that her illness had to do with this darkness. But at that time, I didn't really know what questions to ask, how to handle that. That was a very long time ago. But that's what I mean by spiritual. Like we can actually sometimes feel like something is off with that person. And sometimes clairvoyantly, like we've had clairvoyants see black around someone who's just murdered somebody else,
Mhm.
things like that. And then dimensionally, oh, that's interesting. Dimensionally, we can be so sensitive that we can actually feel other things from other timelines, other realities, and even so-called alien or off-world beings. And sometimes it can be really good, meaning that, hey, let's get together and have a conversation and let's see how what we can do to help each other. And other times, not so good, where there might be dimensional implants that followed you through multiple timelines, or they might be in trouble, and then we need to help, and therefore we get to notice that, whoa, we feel kind of weird. But it's lovely to be able to like really figure out what it is, what it is, and what to do with it. That's basically the foundation of the Tobacco healing method, because we go way woo woo, like meaning like off the beaten track. It's not just, physical, it's not just emotional, it's not just mental. We go spiritual, energetic, dimensional as well, and sometimes relational. There's these metaphysical relationships we have with each other. And so sensitive souls can often feel the range, maybe some greater than others, depending on what their mission is here and what they're here to do and how happy their boundaries are.
Hmm. In your line of work, have you made the experience that, yeah, let's say lower astral critters are particularly interested in high sensitive people?
Well, it depends.
Hmm.
So, in one of my courses, which is all about healing entities, called the Light Warrior Bootcamp 3.0, we talk about entity attractor factors. Now, some of these are high vibe attractor factors, and some of these are low vibe attractor factors. So, the low vibe would be things like, if someone, I'll just give you the example of the pastor, not that he was doing this, but as a hypothetical example. If the pastor who has this role as an intermediary between the average person and God is involved clandestinely in watching pornography.
Hmm.
That would be a break in the shield, if you will, in his spiritual boundaries, and he would actually attract entities. If someone's addicted to drugs, hard drugs especially, and there's an addiction component and they have usually unhealed trauma within, that's also an opening for entities to come in.
Mm.
On the other side, sometimes there isn't any of that. And sometimes ghosts and entities that are, even if they're not ghosts, actually, we've had more now, who are sick and tired of being a demon, who are like so done with what they do in their jobs that they will seek out those that are quote unquote light for help. And we had a 6-year old that was the case. She would get just dark and angry and almost violent at school, and the mother and grandmother thankfully were energy healers, so they would clear all these entities, clear, clear, clear. But it was like a daily job, and they were like, how is she even going to survive at school? Like she can barely function with this emotion going up and down and angry, and she's 6, so she can't control it. So they asked me for help, and I got to ask what her soul mission was, which is very unusual for a 6-year old. But I got the answer that her role was to heal dark angels, so kind of a higher up of a demon, so kind of the leaders.
Hmm.
And I thought, double check that because she's only 6. And then I realized, wait a sec, she's not 6. She's in a 6-year-old body, but this is an old soul. So her role was that, and I was luckily able to communicate that to the grandmother and the mother. I said, look, this is actually her job. So the best thing to do is to take the fear out of it. You do whatever you do with kids, right? Here's what I show you. Here's the stillness practice. Here's what she can do. Here are the options. She can heal them on her own. You just have to give her some confidence. And then I have a little clearing spray as well. So that was on the, in case she needed that backup, she could just spray them. So she stopped being scared. She learned to tune in. She could feel the darkness coming, and she would be in the middle of playing. She would feel the darkness coming, and she'd put her hand up to her grandmother. Wait, they're here, right? And then she'd go into a happy place, and then she would ask Archangel Michael for help, and then she would see them like go off, and after that, the darkness would lift, and she'd be a happy little kid again. It was amazing. 6-year-old, like being able to do this kind of work. Um, so it's yeah, it's just very, very interesting how it can manifest over the time.
Mm. Um, so sometimes, of course, we do not have the, yeah, opportunity to just leave a room, be it that we are at our jobs
Mm,
or whatever it might be. you cannot always walk out of a situation. What you mentioned in when you enter a store, you smell all the smells and then the
I
people
gotta go,
just
right?
leave. But that is not always possible. So, how can highly sensitive people shield themselves so that they are still functional? You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it definitely is a process. There are some quick and easy ways, and then there's kind of like the long-term preventative. I still have that medical doctor hat, so I still talk about preventive medicine here. So the quick and easy way is really learning to clear yourself after being in those places, or um, for example, the clearing and protection spray. It's actually a free formula that you can infuse your own spray bottle with water, infuse the energies in it. You can spray yourself before you go into work. If you happen to have an office that's all your own, you can actually spray the office, just in the air, and then you'll be bathed in this more positive energy for 24 hours. And then when you get home, you can also spray yourself again. And for extra measure, you can actually infuse water that you drink. And you can drink the positive energies, and that will automatically create, for lack of a better term, kind of a shield within you, so you'll be more resilient. That being said, a lot of sensitive souls have burnt themselves out. So their chi and energy are very low and their boundaries are not intact. So when you spray, we have the intention to help fortify your boundaries, but you need a more permanent solution, if you will, for that. So if there's unhealed trauma, inner child wounds, shadow emotions, things like that, and you're physically not well, meaning you're not getting enough sleep, maybe you're drinking too much, maybe you're taking caffeine when you're already exhausted, or maybe you just don't get enough protein because you're vegan and you don't have enough minerals, right? Whatever it is, then you have to address it on all these levels, not just spiritually, so you can actually be stronger in form, in body. And we teach people how to do what's called divine muscle testing. So you can actually check how intact each of those boundaries are: physical, mental, emotional, energetic, spiritual, dimensional. And then if there is a break, it's not 100%. If you if you learn this muscle testing, there are these charts that we have in the Topican healing method where you can quickly and easily figure out why it's not 100% and then just direct the healing. So everyone has this incredible power to do the Topican healing method. The healing part's easy. The more unique and masterful part is being able to figure out what it is that needs to heal.
Yeah. And how does one go about that?
Well, we do what's called divine muscle testing. We teach that
Mhm.
in our courses where you learn to get a yes, no answer. But before that, we teach the first step is actually align. It's kind of like three steps: align, ask, and activate. So when we align, we actually feel into any energies in our body and just pay attention to it. And that actually brings us to what's called the still point. We enter the quantum realm. It's no longer linear time. We enter the quantum, and in that space, then we can actually muscle test. We can use a sway test. I use a little finger rub test, yes, no. And we ask specific quality questions. Like, for example, I might say, oh, why is my knee hurting today? And I go into stillness. I check my yeses and nos, do all the pre-checks we tell people to do so they're more accurate. And then I log, okay, is why I have a knee pain today? Is it in guide one? I get a no. Is it in guide two? I get a no. Is it in guide three? I get a yes. And is it in column A, column B, column C? Oh, it's in column C. Is it in an even row or odd row? Oh, it's an odd row. Okay. Is it one? Is it three? Is it five? Oh, it's five. Okay. And is it this answer, and this? Oh, okay. It's Mother Earth. I'm feeling Mother Earth. Oh, okay. So you can get these answers. And of course, we support our students in also getting into the nuances once they learn how to do the basic method. For sensitive souls, sometimes the best question, I think it's definitely a good idea, first of all, to learn divine muscle testing or using a pendulum and calibrating the pendulum to you so you get very definitive yeses and nos. And then the one question asked, if you're not feeling well, is this mostly my stuff that's causing this?
Mm-hmm.
And if the answer is no, then you could either ask your God team, source team, angel team to go, okay, my boundaries might be down. So can you please fortify my boundaries to 100%? Thank you, thank you, thank you. Right. And then see if you feel any different. Or you might ask, is there something I need to do here? And if you get a yes, it might mean you have a role in healing the other, whatever the other is. For example, Mother Earth. I used to suddenly wake up with weird symptoms, like I had knee pain one time, and I'm like, not sure why it's swollen and painful today. Okay, whose stuff is it? It wasn't mine. It was Mother Earth. I'm like, okay, any particular geography area? Because it was just my right knee. It was North Korea. I'm like, okay, so am I supposed to do something about that? I get a yes. All right. So there's tension in North Korea. Is that a danger to others? Yes. Okay. So it was nuclear or something like that. Anyway, so I went and healed whatever I did. Then the knee pain went away. Yeah. So I think if people get to know themselves, go into, and we do teach the stillness exercise completely free. In one of our courses called Stillness on the Fly, where you learn how to connect to the quantum. And then the muscle testing is a great course to learn how to do that and then how to ask the quality questions. And then in our advanced course, the Topigan Healing Method, we give you cheat sheets, we give you lots of protocols. You can fill in the blank. We teach you how to ask higher level questions so that, like you said, and like when I go to work, what do I do? Yes, you can protect yourself. I can spray myself. But what if you knew how to clear the whole place? Right? What if you knew how to test? Are there any dark energies here living here? Is there a portal? For example, there was a 3-year-old who we gave the clear and protection spray formula to. He was saying monster, monster, hole in the ground over and over again. And he would draw it like this really angry kind of crayon drawing, 3-year-old. And so we gave the free clear and protection spray formula. And when I tested before and after, I could tell that something had shifted. So I asked the parent, and the kid did actually spray the hole and the monster, with the bottle with all the stickers on it, right? They made it really fun. And after that, the little one said, no monster, no hole. Like it was gone. It was gone. So the neat thing is you can learn how to do property clearing on your own. I know healers that charge $8,000 for a home clearing. We teach people how to do this in a couple of our courses, and not only can you do your own home, you can do any location you want. So we have healers who are part of my practitioner certification who are guided to heal like war-torn areas, where there's a lot of death. Sometimes, the war of whatever 1812 or whatever war it was, they happen to live near this battleground or the Indian burial ground, or, and they'll be able to clear that. And you don't have to walk into any place that is not good because you can clear it ahead of time, including your kids' school, including the football stadium. Like the stadiums are full of entities because they like alcohol, the bar. I mean, um, the cemetery. Oh my goodness. There's so many places where you could be doing a lot of good, having the skill set. And here's the really cool thing, Judith. We teach people how to do it in multiple timelines. So in their so-called past lives or alternate lives, because sometimes what they're feeling is dimensional. It is somewhere else. Like I had a woman who thought that there was an entity jumping on her at night in the bed, and I could not find it. I was testing, could not find it. So I said, what does it feel like? And she was like, it's like 80 pounds just went boom, like on the bed. And I thought, first thing here's clairvoyance for you, but it was in here. I saw a dog. I said, do you have a dog? She goes, no. Oh, okay. Well, hang on. Let me check. So I checked. Is it this timeline or another time? It was another timeline. Another parallel timeline where she did own a dog. An 80-pound dog would jump into bed with her at night. So that totally took the fear out of it, but she was so sensitive she could feel that. So it's really cool when you know how to ask the right question. The answers, it's not all bad stuff, guys. Sometimes it's just stuff that we weren't taught to ask and learn about. And it can be really empowering to know where it's coming from and that you can do something about it.
Mm. And This clearing spray, is it mostly about the ingredients or are there frequencies in it? What is it that makes it special?
Yes, there are a set of, I think it's 10 frequencies that are infused. What happens is that I have personally infused the video with the frequencies. So when somebody plays the video and then looks at their spray bottle or their bottle or glass of water, then the frequencies know to go there. Like it actually directs the frequencies there. And so there are frequencies there to heal ghosts, uh, reduce or get rid of dimensional interference. So if you have a low vibrational extraterrestrial in your space or an opening, a portal, it'll help close that, like the little 3-year-old that closed the entity portal by himself, the monster portal. It also has like the energies of Ho'oponopono, a Hawaiian, yes, you know that one. And those energies. It also has what we call higher help energies. So the energies of higher source team members, archangels, if you will, that can be there to help. It also helps to clear lower vibrational energies from electronics. Don't spray them on your electronics, but you can spray the energy in the room. For example, a lot of teenagers, oh my gosh, you look at their bedroom, it's full of electronics, right? They've got Bluetooth this, Bluetooth that. They got a laptop, it's plugged in. They got an iPad, it's plugged in, and that's on Wi-Fi. And they got a 5G phone, and you don't have a phone, so good for you. A 5G phone, and you're like, oh my gosh. And they're like, yeah, I'm really tired in the morning. I'm like, yeah, because you're sleeping with all this stuff in your bed.
Mm.
Stop it. So the least, but of course, sometimes they're like, they don't want to they don't want you to tell them what to do. And so I have their parents. I said, do you own the house? Yes. Is your kid over 18? No. I said, okay, spray his room. Spray his room every night. He won't know you did it. And it helps. And it helps. But we also prefer people turn everything off, including their Wi-Fi at night. So all
Yeah,
sorts of strategies one can use.
yeah. So, in other words, by learning to get to your inner stillness
Mm.
and by learning to ask the right questions and get a personal answer without going to any type of medium or whatever. Um, so that is the way you can turn your sensitivity into a superpower. Do I understand that correctly?
That's the healing method way. There are so many other superpowers, if you will, that we have access to. I wrote about the others in the Sensitivities or Superpower book. For example, weather magic. Judith, I cannot tell you how many times somebody needed weather magic and it worked. And when two or more people do it, oh, even more powerful. We have literally we play in this realm. So we are 100% success rate with people in our community who are getting married, sometimes in a location that is not that nice weather-wise. Okay, like Scotland, for example, get really cold sometimes and wet. And one of my colleagues was there, and she was getting married, so she asked for weather magic from the community. And so we teach that in chapter 13 in my Sensitivity or Superpower book, how to influence the weather for your benefit. And think children can do this. Children sometimes do it better than adults. Why? Because they don't have an opinion that they can't.
Mm.
We've made, a tornado. Like I remember one time going to Christmas and my mother-in-law was like, well, there's going to be a tornado here. And I'm like, not on my watch. Right. So I took the 14-year-old. I said, do you want to do weather magic? And she goes, what's that? And I'm like, okay. So we did weather magic. We created the scene, what we wanted it to be. And I said, here's the tip. When the adults tell you how bad the weather's going to be, how it's going to be a storm, it's going to be so cold, and look at the news, I said, you just ignore them because you know what you and I are creating, right? And she goes, okay. So she was like, okay. And that's exactly what happened, right? They're like, oh, it's gonna be terrible, and the storm, yeah, all this kind of stuff. And her and I would just wink at each other, like, we got this. And sure enough, Christmas came, and it was like, oh, what happened to the storm? And literally, my mother-in-law was like, well, yeah, it's better, but it's still windy out there. We can't barbecue. So we go outside and we're the 14-year-old. I'm like, so I pretend I'm yelling at the air and I'm like, hey, Archangel Uriel, can you please stop the wind? Because we want to barbecue. Thank you so much. Right. And we're laughing. We're just having a blast, the two of us. And sure enough, the wind stops and we cook barbecue. And my mother-in-law goes, you guys did good. So many things people can do. If somebody's spewing out negativity, some of those narcissists, you can actually put not 100% of the time, but most of the time you can put what's called a transmutational bubble around them. So that the stuff that is leaking out of them or the entities that are attracted to them, they hit the bubble, which is outside of their auric field, because I don't have permission to heal them. Oftentimes I don't think they need healing, right? So it's a space outside of their auric field. So I'm healing the space. But what happens is that entity goes, ooh, nice person to attach to, comes to him or her, and then hits that bubble, healed, right? Maybe there's something outside spewing out from within them to infect others. They hit that bubble, healed. So it just protects them from others and others from them, so to speak. This bubble. So we teach that in there and a whole bunch of other really, really fun things like intuitive impressioning is another skill set, a sensitivity skill set where you can feel into the future, feel into different options of the future. One of my young people that I used to mentor didn't have the money to visit all these different universities. But I said, well, back then there was still the internet, I said, well, there's the internet. Do you have pictures? He goes, yeah. He said, but I'm really supposed to go there, right, to see like, if I like it. I said, okay, you're going to do intuitive impressioning. So what you're going to do is you're going to write your top three places, and you're going to imagine the scene. You're in there. You're just going to close your eyes. You're going to imagine yourself there. You're going to taste the food. You're going to interact with the people. You're going to look around, and you have the pictures, so that helps. You note how you feel. Then you do the next university, then the next university. And from that information, he's like, I like university number 3. I'm like, okay. So he went and he loved it. He loved it. But the thing is, he was able to feel in to the future of what it would be like living there. These are skills we can all do. That's why I wrote the book. It's good. People just don't know they can do that.
Hmm. And that particular book is titled.
The Sensitivity is Your Superpower book.
Hmm. Okay.
Yes. Same name as the podcast.
Okay. So
Yeah.
do you sometimes come across people that call you an absolute nutter?
Uh, Probably. I mean, yeah, I think that people are really scared, or people can be really scared of what they don't understand.
Hmm.
And I totally get that. And thankfully, I'm very empathetic, so I understand that. And even my own family members, thought I was nuts. I mean, definitely thought I was nuts during the pandemic, um, for my very different opinions of what health is. So, it's one of those things. Empaths have a really hard time because they feel other people's criticisms. Like it's so sharp, it just penetrates us so deeply. And at the same time, if we realize it's their stuff projected onto us, if we have healthy self-esteem, or at least work on it, healthy self-esteem, and realize that's just what they're going to do, then instead of living our lives trying to please people, which definitely burns us out, been there, done that, don't want to do it again, we can actually live for ourselves, be authentic, be healthy. And when we have a whole bunch of authentic, happy, healthy people out there who are sensitive and empathetic, the world has to be a better place. So
Yeah.
it's not easy, I get it, but that's why we have community,
Yeah.
right? So we can support people.
Yeah. I think that is one of the most exhausting yeah, undertakings to try to be everybody's darling. That is so exhausting and it never
Yeah.
works anyhow.
No, mm-mm.
And, of course, people have their opinions. And why did you interview this person and not that person? And everything that is coming along with doing a podcast. But, you know, I don't care about that. I stopped caring about what other people think of me a long time ago. I really
Hmm.
don't care.
Yeah, I think it's, on the one hand, we want to make a difference, and that's important to us. And on the other hand, people will self-select a match or not a match,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I was doing a Facebook ad, and this one guy, he said, "Oh, all you people, you're after the money.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, the
You're all
difficult.
about the money, right?" And that's a tender point for a lot of us sensitive souls. Like we undercharge like constantly. So luckily, I'd had so much tens of thousands of dollars in coaching. Since then, I felt the ouch and realized, wow, he has a lot of money issues. So so I channeled, literally connected to source, and when I was ready, I channeled the response. So I said to him, well, maybe for you it's all about the money, but for me it's about impact and the difference that I make. And I really do believe that I really do believe that the people that work for me should be paid well.
Yeah,
It's
of
very
course.
important to me
Yeah.
that they get paid well for their talents, their gifts, and their efforts in our mission. And if $1 for this 3-hour workshop is too much for you, let us know. We have plenty of freebies.
Mm.
And because we answered that way, another one, and I remember my mentor saying, well, you're not answering for him, you're answering for all the other people who read the thread. So I was keeping that in mind. And so somebody else answered later on, I've been reading this whole thread for a while now, and I wasn't sure whether I was going to sign up for your workshop. But after hearing some of your response, or after reading some of your responses, I am definitely signing up,
Hmm.
because it wasn't defensive. We did have somebody talk about podcasts, right? One guy said, well, you're not very professional because you talk too much. And I'm thinking, he's right. I do. I do. So I said to him, well, thank you so much for the feedback. I'll definitely be working on that. And I would love the link to your podcast to see how you do it.
Hmm.
Never heard back.
Yeah, of course not.
Likelihood he didn't have one.
Hmm. Yeah, of
Yeah,
course not.
yeah. And
Yeah.
sometimes people are like, oh, what's the point of this video? I don't get it. And I'm like, oh, sorry, I only had 3 minutes on this reel. Sorry, I didn't explain it well, but I just had 3 minutes, on this reel, right? So it's like being real, being authentic, not taking it personally, but it's a path. It's not overnight, for us empaths, for us sensitive souls. It can hurt. It can hurt a lot deeply because we feel deeply. That's who we are, and at the same time realizing it's nothing to do with us.
Yeah. That this subject with money and the notion that everything has to be free, that is a big theme among
Yeah, it's a big
spiritual
shadow.
people, and some of them are so downtrodden because of it, and
Mm.
yeah, burnt out and what have you. And as you said, yeah, the people that work for you should be paid well, of course.
Yes, and
Nobody
it is
else goes to work, and says, "Oh,
right.
keep the pay slip. I come back next month. I work for free for you." Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
No, yeah, exactly. I mean, one of the I did have a student from a long time ago. We had improved a lot, and the program just expanded multiple times. So instead of 4 modules, it was now like 56 videos, or actually 60 something video. Anyway, the point is that she said, "Well, I think you should give it to us for free."
Oh, okay.
So she had paid this much. It was actually she paid for another program. This was a bonus. But the whole program, right, is now thousands of dollars, so many videos later. And I said, I'm just curious. Have you produced 56 videos and made them freely available with all your training material? And she said, well, no. People ask me to train there, like I'm on a network marketing LifeWave. I've had people in the past ask me, well, I don't see why you're not training like us. And I'm like, I put so much free content out there for all teams. And if you want me to come in to see your people, I'm happy to. It's just going to cost you $1,000, right? Or whatever it is of that time. Um, yeah, they think they're entitled to my attention because they don't think there's anything else I do except teach for free. Like, but I need to pay my people, need to pay myself well enough so I have the lifestyle and I'm healthy so I can give more. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you say light wave?
Yes, it's some phototherapy patches. I just
Yeah,
got their.
I know them. I know I
Oh, okay,
use
okay. Yeah,
them.
I've been
Yeah.
with them for over 20 years.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Are
yeah.
you still using them?
Absolutely. That, and I'm known all over the world to teach, how to use the patches. Although these in America, this day and age, there's a lot of things we're not allowed to say anymore.
Mm,
Even though there's data and evidence, testimonials, we're not allowed to say pain even.
mm,
You can't say pain relief. There's so many things. So I've had to take down a lot of my videos. They're like, 20 years old, 10 years old, but because they're no longer compliant with the federal regulations here in America.
mm. And
But,
it,
keep going.
yeah, and that hasn't gotten any better.
Well, what happened is I believe it's a whole system.
Mm,
So the system's, very, very organized. So they're not going to bother any company that's earning less than X number of millions of dollars because it's a waste of manpower. It's only when a company gets big enough, if there's a wellness company that potentially threatens the pharmaceutical or some other, major player here in the United States, only then will they bring their big guns in and go, you can't do that anymore. It
mm,
happens all the time. It's unfortunate. But yeah, we're making a new world where that is irrelevant. So
mm,
that's the exciting thing. And we just keep doing the best we can. And there's always a bright side to everything, even though we think, oh, the government, oh, the stupid rules and all this kind of stuff. There is some advantage on the other end if we can find what that is, and we don't have to break down what is there. We don't have to like kill it. We don't have to fight against it. We just create a brand new paradigm to make the other one obsolete, as Buckminster Fuller used to say.
yeah, I was reminded of him when you said that. Just don't fight it, create a new system, and but it can be challenging to implement that new system. You know what I mean?
Well, I think that I'm very lucky in that I tend to attract a lot of wonderful mentors and teachers, and my superpowers are now, very keen, so I can go, oh, resonate with that. Oh, that really resonates, or that doesn't, and I will
Mm,
take bits and pieces and then put it together. And that's probably my human design as well. I'm a manifesting generator 6-3, so I'm going to experiment and I'm going to pull all the good pieces and make it into uh, a holistic system, if you will. That's kind of one of my gifts that I like to do. So we have a lot of help. And I think the most important thing and a message, kind of a going away message, for all your listeners is stay in community. Not any community, but a community who understands you, who gets you, who loves your sensitivity, who honors it and does not disrespect it. And I think that's really, really important because when two or more are gathered, we are very powerful and strong. In my community, we do a free group mini healing every single month. So, folks, maybe they're not ready for my higher end programs, they want to still receive, they can come into the light medicine community on Circle and look at the calendar and get signed up for the free mini healings. And then, like we mentioned before, we have stillness on the fly, we have the free clearing and protection spray formula. So lots of things available. But with community, there's a form of accountability, and that's when people do the best
mm,
because you're not doing it alone. We're doing it together.
yeah. Okay. So, yeah, thank you so much for coming. I hope we will continue this conversation in the near future. It was very interesting for me, and I absolutely loved it.
Thank you, Judith. That was a great and fun conversation, and much love to you, and wishing you much success in your podcast and beyond.
Okay, thank you. Same to you. So,
Thank
yeah,
you.
guys, that was it. Night flight for today with the wonderful Dr. Karen Can, and we see you on the next one. And now I need to find the button.